UFC 229 is headlined by the highly anticipated Khabib versus McGregor battle, but the rest of the card doesn't seem to stack up. Ariel, is this a missed opportunity?
So, Chael, I'll preface this by saying that I do believe UFC 229 is still a work in progress. However, I think we're starting to see something here, and I think at first glance, a lot of fans are saying, what? Biggest card of all time? You know, where are the stars? Where are the draws? Where are the other title fights? And to that, I'll say, this makes all the sense in the world. Conor McGregor costs a lot of money. Khabib Nurmagomedov costs a lot of money. They both get pay-per-view points. It doesn't necessarily make economic sense to have other big stars who cost a lot of money and who get pay-per-view points to take pieces of that pie away. This is going to be, in many ways, the most expensive card in UFC history just because of how much Conor McGregor is going to make come October 6th. So to me, it makes all the sense in the world. Now, there is a logic behind, okay, having these two stars, hoping that a lot of people are going to watch this card and then make new stars. There's a trickle-down effect. I get that. But if you look at some of Conor's other fights, in particular UFC 202, same kind of card. I would say 202 better than 229 right now, but I still think that they're going to try to put some other big names on this card. I don't want fans to be surprised. I don't want fans to be upset about this card because, in my opinion, you put Khabib and Conor by themselves and ask for $65, you're going to sell it. You're going to sell 1.5 million. The UFC just doesn't have much of an incentive to put other big names on the card as well, in my opinion.
Ariel, no disagreeing with you on the business aspect that you just laid out and the fact that it is top heavy and the cream's going to the top and the pie can only go so far. I get it, but I come to you as a fan, man. Look, I'm let down. I am a little bit disappointed. The last time I was in that arena, T-Mobile, I watched Cormier versus Stipe, which was the biggest fight of 2018, at least what we believed was going to be. You had Pettis on the card. You had Chiesa. Of course, you had Derek Lewis and Ngannou. There were some really meaningful fights. I mean, just on the undercard alone was Costa and Uriah Hall. So, yeah, I got to admit to you, I am a little bit let down. Now, do I have the right to be? Look, the boxing model, which is largely the model that we take in this sport even to this day for combat, says that you go top heavy. But I have been spoiled over the years. I'll fully admit it. And this card, as it sits right now, do I like it? Sure. Am I disappointed? Yeah, in some ways I am. And even though I do fully agree with you that there are going to be some repairs done, I would expect two top guys in the lightweight division. I believe Kevin Lee will be one of them. I do expect two top guys, though, to come in and be on that card just because that's the recipe the UFC has followed for the last 20 years. In case somebody in the main event falls apart, they can pull him up. But I can all but guarantee you, Ariel, we will not see any other title fights added to this show.
I would really like to see Tony Ferguson on this card. I think that makes all the sense in the world. Of course, not against Kevin Lee, but I think it would make a lot of sense to have Ferguson on the card. Maybe against an Anthony Pettis. I know Lee wants Anthony Pettis, but he seems to be the only other guy out there. Yes?
Ariel, may I jump in on your thought?
Yeah.
May I jump in on your thought? Okay, hey, just because you said this, but I love what they're doing. Take Usman by example, where they're putting Usman in that holding pattern. He gets a little contract. He's got to make weight, get his license. They're doing that for Woodley versus Till. What do you think about Tony as the guy that's in that reserve hold, not on the card, not fighting, but in that reserve spot? We almost need, Ariel, a name for that. We almost need a name because this is becoming a new piece, and particularly for guys like you and I who make a living off of talking and speculation. It's not the number one contender. Is it the standby? Is it the guy in the dugout? I mean, what do we call it? And should it be Tony in this case?
It should be Tony, but I want him to fight as well. If the fight doesn't come to fruition where Tony, walks in, and I don't think anyone wants that because I think everyone wants to see Conor versus Khabib, I still want to see Tony compete because by the time this card happens, Chael, it will have been a year since his last fight. Remember, he was supposed to fight in April, busted his knee, and now he's finally back. He's doing all kinds of crazy things on Twitter and Instagram. So I want to see him compete on this card. But if you look at the card as it stands right now, there's some interesting things. Sean O'Malley, he's a rising star. Dominic Reyes is a rising star. Jussier Formiga and Sergio Pettis, that fight makes sense. So it's a lot of young talent. It's a lot of rising stars, so to speak, that don't cost a lot of money, who they're going to try to elevate by putting on this card. The one that kind of surprises me, and I want to get your take on this, Chael, Derek Lewis. You just mentioned him. He was in the co-main event of the last card at T-Mobile. Are you surprised that he's back in the co-main event after that stinker of a fight?
Well, Ariel, listen, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. You have to understand, they're running Derek Lewis back in the same sport, in the same weight class, in the same cage, in the same venue, on the same spot on the card. From what I'm hearing, he's going to return to co-main event, though I can't confirm that at this time. Ariel, he was just booed out of that arena less than 2 months ago. That is a surprise for me. I'm not mad at Derek Lewis. I'm not trying to kick Derek Lewis, but to answer you directly, yeah, I'm stunned.
But just wait and see, Chael. More is coming. More is coming.
For more Ariel and the Bad Guy, sign up now for ESPN Plus.